Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. Thank you for clicking on this video. If this is your first time on my channel, please kindly hit on the subscribe button to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So in today's video, we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful double-breasted dress. You can see it has a collar. The down part is pleated and you can see our lapel. It's a very interesting tutorial to make and you're going to be learning a lot of techniques. I use inseam sewing technique to achieve this outfit. So I hope this is what you're interested in learning. Kindly stay tuned while we get right into the tutorial. Thank you. So this is the fabric we'll be using to achieve our double-breasted dress. So the measurements we need to achieve this dress will appear on your screen. So we're going to start with drafting our back first, and I'll be using the biggest measurement to fold over my fabric. That's to determine the amount of fabric to fold, which is the hip. And the hip here is 42, so 42 divided by 4, that will give me 10.5, then plus my sewing allowance of 2 inches. So I'm going to fold it over and I'll show us the next thing to do. So I folded my fabric. So this here now is the center back. So the first thing to do now is to draw my starting line, which is the shoulder line. Then I'll come down by the waist line. So from shoulder to waist is 15 inches. That's her back length. This is 15 inches. Shoulder to hip line is 24.5. And then the length of the dress, that's before the pleat, it will be stopping at 35 inches. So plus my joining allowance of ½ inch. I'm just going to straighten my lines here. So the length I have here now is 35.5. Meanwhile, the full length of the gown is 42 inches. So the other part, the remaining part will form the pleats. So now, first, I'm going to mark ½ inch from the center back here. And then straighten the line. So now from this line, this is now my center back line. So we'll understand why I did this later on. So first I'm going to go ahead now and mark 3 inches on the shoulder line, starting from the center back now. That's from this my line. So mark 3 inches. And then I'll mark half of the shoulder measurement plus ½ inch for joining the sleeve. So that is 8.5. So from this 8 inches, I'll come down by 1 inch to get the shoulder slant. So I haven't gotten the shoulder slant. I'll come down by the armhole measurement. So I'll divide her bust by 6 plus 1.5. That will give me the armhole measurement, and that is 7.8. And here is my 7.8. I'll reconfirm my 8.5 inches to achieve a straight line. That's the shoulder measurement plus ½ inch for joining the sleeve. So this is 8.5 to achieve a straight line. So once I've done that, now I'll come here now to the armhole, get the midpoint of the armhole by folding my tape over like this. I have the midpoint now. Then I'll go in by ½ inch from here. Then use my ruler to connect it to the shoulder tip. Then I'll bring in my armhole curve to curve out the armhole like this. So now I have the back armhole. So from this center back down, I'll enter quarter of the bust measurement. From the center back now, I'll enter quarter of the bust measurement, which is 9 3/4 plus 2 inches. And then on the waistline here, I'll enter quarter of the waist measurement, which is 33. 33 divided by 4, that's 8¼ plus 1 inch for that, and then 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Then on the hip line, I'll enter quarter of the hip measurement, which is 10.5 plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So once I've done that now, so at the hem here, whatever I have here, I'll be subtracting 1.5 from it. So the total I have here is 12.5. So I'll subtract 1.5 from it, and that will give me 11 inches. So that's that. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect my markings. So I'm connecting from the hem to the hip line, and from the hip to the waist, from the waist to the bust. That's to the chest line. That's where the bust measurement is. So here is my chest line. So having done that now, I'll come here to the shoulder line. From the center back, I'm going to come in by 3 inches. That's the width of my neckline. So 3 inches from the center line here, from this center back. So here's my 3 inches. Then I'll come down by half of an inch for the neck depth. So having done that, now I'll go ahead and curve this neckline out like this. So can you see? So with that being done, so this is the essence of my center back line. Now I'm going to explain it. I need to take out bulge. You don't want this jacket, you don't want this dress, sorry. You don't want this dress to bulge at the back, despite the fact that it's going to have buttons in front. It's not going to have zipper at the back. So remember that our waist is smaller at the back, the spinal cord area. So because of that, I'll be taking away bulge from here. I don't want it to bulge anywhere at the back. So this is what I'll be doing. From this center back now, I will come in by half of an inch. So can you see, this is the center back line. I came in by half of an inch, and then I'll slant it to meet the neckline here. And then I'll also slant it to stop 2 inches above, 1 inch above the hip line. Can you see how it just blends up into the hip line? So this is bulge. I'm trying to remove my bulge, but of course we're going to join them together. So we need the sewing allowance I will be able to use to join them together, because this will not be left open like that. So from this line now, because this is now the new center back line, you can see that it's not straight anymore, it's curved. I will go out by half of an inch. Can you see that? So you can see that my line now is curved. So that's the essence of this extra ½ inch that I marked at the first place when we started. So here, can you see? So now I'll connect it also like this. Now I'll cut out this. So automatically this is where we are removing our ½ inch from. So you can see that it just goes in. So this will bring you into the main measurement so that it can eliminate bulge at the back of the dress. Okay, so we have our back piece and it's ready. So now it's time for us to cut. So this is how I'll be cutting. I'll be cutting from this point. So can you see? So this part is off. So you can see how the back goes in. So this part that we're not doing anything, all we need to do is just to slash it open. So I'll take out the shoulder slant like this. So now we have our back piece. So for the dart, I'm going to come here now from the center back here. That's from the original center back line here, because this is a ½ inch for sewing. I'm going to be marking the dart. So the nipple to nipple of my client is 8 inches divided by 2, so that's 4 inches. So I'll mark that 4 inches here. So I'll come here to the hip line and mark the same 4 inches. And then let me straighten out the line for the chest line. So I'll also come here and mark the same 4 inches to achieve a straight line. So I'll mark half inch on the side here and then half inch on this side. Remember, I added just 1 inch for my dart. So half inch on this side, half inch to the other side. So from the chest line, I'll come down by half of an inch. My dart will be stopping half of an inch. That's starting from half of an inch below the chest line. And then from the hip line, I'll come up by 2 inches. So I'll draw my dart. So you can see that this is now my back dart. So I'll use my tracing wheel to trace my dart so that it can reflect on this side too. So I'll just start from here. First I'll mark the dart leg. So can you see? So up to this point, and then now when I flip to this side, you'll not be able to see it because it's going to be faint, but I can actually see it. I can even feel it. So I'll just go ahead and draw the line before I separate them. You can see that this is my dart because you can actually feel it when you mark correctly. So you can see that this is what we have here. So now we'll go ahead and fold our fabric for the front piece. So I folded my fabric for the front piece, and this is now the center front. You will realize that the fabric I folded for the front is quite wider than the back. The reason is because in front we are going to be doing our double-breasted dress in front, and we need allowance for our lapel. So here, before I start marking on this center front line, I will come in by 5 inches. So 5 inches, 5 inches, I came in by 5 inches. So from the starting point also, I will also come down by the same 5 inches. So now you can see. So now this is now my new center front, and this is the shoulder line. I have a space of 5 inches here because we'll be having a collar. And then you can see here too, we need our lapel. That's the double-breasted part of this dress. So this will come from here. So this is our center front, and this is our shoulder line. So from this part now, from this line I have here, I will come down by the same 35 inches. So I'm going to be marking the front length of the gown, 35 inches. So here's our 35 inches plus half inch for joining the flare. So I have my full length to 35.5. So from the shoulder line, I'll come down by the bust point. So from shoulder to bust point is 11 inches for this person. And then from shoulder to on the bust is 14 inches. Then shoulder to waistline is 17 inches. Shoulder to hip line is 24.5. And then of course the full length of the gown is 35 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule out my lines. So having done that, now on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the neck width of 3 inches, just like I did for the back. And then I'll mark half of the shoulder measurement plus half of an inch for joining the sleeve. So on 8 inches here, that's I'm placing my tape from shoulder and center front to 8 inches. So this 8 inches here is where I come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So of course that 1 inch will now extend into this 8.5 or extend to the 8.5. I hope we understand. So here we have our shoulder slope. So having done that, now go ahead and mark the neck depth. Since we already have the neck width, the neck depth is 3 inches. So this is 3 by 3. So I'll bring in my curve and just draw the neckline. So now we have our front neckline. I'm going to be making it an armhole princess bustier. So from the center front now, I'll go ahead and mark the nipple to nipple of my client, which is 4 inches. 4 inches, I'll add half inch to it for joining the two pieces together. So this is 4 plus half, so that's 4.5. 4.5, and then I'll bring the same 4.5 down to this point. I'll also bring it down to the hemline here. On that now, let's come here now and draw our armhole. So remember that the armhole we used for the back was 7.8. So I'll just come down and mark the same 7.8. So here is my 7.8. And then from the center front, I'll reconfirm the same 8.5 inches we have here on the shoulder line to achieve a straight line. So here's our 8.5. I'll take it to the shoulder tip like this. So you can see we have our armhole line, which is also called the chest line. So I'll get the midpoint of this armhole by folding my tape into two like this. So once I have that, I'll go in by 3/4 of an inch. This is for the front. The front is smaller than the back. For the back, we went in by ½ inch. So I'll go in by 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll bring it back to the shoulder tip like this. Then I'll bring the quarter of the bust measurement, which is 9.5 here. Then I'll go ahead and curve the armhole. So now you can see that we have our front armhole. So here is our bust line, under bust line, and then the waistline. On the waistline here, this is the center front. I'm going to mark ½ of an inch on this side, and then I'll come to this side and mark the same ½ of an inch. So now I have a total of 1 inch here. So let's mark it so that's not so much. Okay, so I have my 1 inch here. So now on the hip line, I will come up by 2 inches. We usually finish our that 2 inches above the hip line. And then on the bust line, I will come down by ½ of an inch. So I'll go ahead and mark my darts this way. Can you see? I'm zeroizing at the hip line here. So I haven't marked my darts this way now. So for this under bust part here, I'm going to remember I took ½ of an inch here. So for this part, I'm just going to be taking 3/4 of an inch. Remember, I'm not padding this outfit, but I want to give the bust that nice lift in front. So I'm just going to be doing 3/4 of an inch here, and then the same ½ inch that we have here. So here, this is what we'll have. So you can see that the line just opens up more to this side, and then here it will come straight because it's the same ½ inch we're using. So now I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect it to this part. You see? And then I'll also curve it to meet the bust, the ½ inch below the bust point here. So can you see that my dart intake is not so much because I'm not going to be padding it. So you just want it to have that nice bust lift in front. So that's it. So now to the midpoint of the armhole, because we are doing an armhole princess bust here. So I'll place my curve like this. You can see that I already have ½ inch above the bust line like this. So I'll place my curve this way and then bring it to this part. Can you see? So this is the center. So from this center, I'll come down by ½ inch because we'll be taking the armhole dart also. Can you see? So I've come down by ½ inch, so I'll just curve it also to this part. So you can see our dart will be cutting out this, and will also be cutting out this part. So for this armhole, for the side piece, I'm going to be extending it by the dart intake I have here on the underbust. And everything I have on the underbust here is about 1¼ or let's say 1½. So I'm just going to increase this side by 1½ and then I'll just curve the armhole this way. So now what does this mean? That we'll not be using this when we're cutting for the center front. This is the armhole, but for the side front, this is now going to be the armhole, because by the time we join them together, if you don't extend this part, you are going to have a shortage. This side piece will stop somewhere around here, which is going to be a shortage. That is why we're extending it to this part. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead to do is to enter our measurement. So the bust divided by 4 is 9½ plus my 2 inches. I'll be needing ½ inch for turning my lining, so that's 2.5. So I added 2.5 in all. So the underbust measurement is 33 inches. 33 divided by 4, that's 8¼ So this dart intake I have here, I have a total of 1.5. So I'll return that 1.5 here and then go ahead and add my 2.5 inches. Remember, ½ inch will be for turning my lining on this side, ½ inch will be for joining this side to this side. So automatically I'll be left with 1.5 inches. So for the waist is 34. 34 divided by 4, that's 8.5 plus 2.5 inches, and then the dart intake I have here is 1 and 1.5. That's 1¼ sorry. So I'll bring it back here. You see that? So now I'll come to the hip line. The hip divided by 4 is 10.5 plus 2.5 inches. So here is my 2.5 inches. So on the hemline here, whatever I have here determines what I'll be using here. So you can see I have a total of 13 inches here. So I'll subtract 1.5 inches from it and bring it here. So 13 minus 1.5, that will leave me with 11.5. So I'll go ahead and connect my markings. That being done, now we'll come to our lapel. From this part here, so I'm just going to extend my lapel. I want my lapel to break at the underbust line. So here you can see that this is the underbust line, this is the waistline, this is the bust line. So I want the lapel to break on the underbust line. So this is what I'm going to be doing. From the center front, I'm extending this line by 4.5 inches. Remember I said the nipple to nipple is 8 inches. Half of it is 4 inches. So this is so that it stops at the other side of the nipple to nipple. So that is why I am going out by 4.5 inches. ½ inch will be for turning, that's for sewing it, that's for stitching the lining and the fabric together. So that will now leave me with exactly my 4 inches. So here is my 4.5. So I'll just go ahead and extend the line like this. Can you see that? So having done that, so this is my break-even point now. So I'll come here now to the neckline. I'm going to be connecting from here to here. Can you see what we're doing? So by placing my ruler this way, of course you can see that it will take some part of the neckline. So it will just slant this way. So I'll go ahead and bring down this 4.5 inches mark that I have all the way down. So now, I haven't done that now. So from this point here, I will come out, that's from the neckline here, from the center front here, I'll come out by 4 inches. So this depends on how wide you want your collar to be. So I am coming out by 4 inches because I want to create a curved shape around there. So now I won't take this line straight. This is where my neckline is. This is where my neckline is. This is where the neckline stops. This is the line of my 3 inches. From this 3 inches mark, I'll just go up by half of an inch like this. Can you see that? And then I'm going to be creating a curved shape that will bring me down here. So you can see I went up by half of an inch from the neckline. That's from the neck depth. I went up by half of an inch. So I brought in my curve ruler. I want to create a curved shape like this. Can you see what I'm doing? I want this part of the lapel to be curved. So, and I want to blend it into this part. So this is what I'll just go ahead and do like this. So it's easier to just use your hand to do. So I want to have this curved shape around it. So you can see that it had to bring me in. So you can see that everything I have here is at about 3.5. Remember, I came in by 4 inches. So now that I've created this curve, you can see that it has come in by 3.5. Okay? So now that's that for the lapel part. So now for the collar, remember that this dress also has a collar. So now from this part here, you'll be needing your ruler so that it's easy for you to mark it. So on our ruler, we have this shape here that shows us our angle 90. Okay, so I'll just bring this ruler here. This is my angle 90 at this point. I'll make sure to place it at the center here. Can you see that? And then I'll mark this point. This is where the angle 90 stops. So I'll mark exactly on this point. So from this point now here, I'm going to extend my collar. I'm going to be marking from this center front line here. I'll be going up by 3.5 inches because remember that's what I have here. So I want the two of them to be equal. So here is my 3.5 inches. So I'll just use my ruler to straighten it out like this. Can you see what I have here? So now we'll bring in our back piece. Remember that this collar will also be sewn to the back. So now I'll come here and measure what I have here. The neck width I used was 3 inches also at the back. But you can see that now plus minus my sewing allowance because I'll be joining these two backs together. So of course that half inch will go. So away from this sewing allowance here, I'm going to measure what I have here. So everything I have here is 3.5. The neckline I used was 3 inches, but now it is 3.5 because it's a curved line. So from this neck width here, I'm going to go up by the same 3.5. So now you don't want to make it straight because this is where it is supposed to be if it is straight, but it cannot be straight. Just like I came down here by half of an inch, I will come out also by half of an inch so that it gives it that balance at the back. Can you see? So this is what I'm doing. So I haven't done that now. So I'm just going to bring in my armhole curve and curve the necklines. This is where the collar ends here, and you can see where it stops here. So you want to create that curved shape of the collar. So from this point here, I'm determining the width I want to have at the back of my collar. I'm going to come here now and mark that same 3.5. You see that? So the same 3.5, and then I will draw my line this way. and then bring in my armhole cuff and just curve the collar like this. Can you see? So this is now my collar and this is my lapel on this side. So now we'll go ahead and cut it out. So I'll be cutting out this collar because I'll cut another piece. I'll be needing, I'll be joining it to this outfit. So I need to cut it out. That's what I'm trying to say. So we're done with this. So now we'll go ahead and cut out our collar. Let's go ahead and cut out the collar first. So take note of the way I'm following the collar, the shape. You see that this is our collar, so you can see that by the time we come to sew it into this place, it will relax well. And the essence of coming out here by 1/2 inch is so that it sits into the back. Can you see how it sits, going to sit into the back? Because it's not supposed to be straight. Remember that the back is also curved, so that is why I came out by 1/2 inch to give it that curved shape also at the back. So this is our collar. So I'll just keep it aside and continue with our cutting. So now we're cutting our lapel. So here now we'll come to our shoulder slant. So on the shoulder slant here, I'll go up by 1/2 inch. I'll be adding 1/2 inch. Remember, we have done a dart intake here of 1/2 inch. So I'll go up by 1/2 inch. You can see that for the center front, we followed the armhole. But now for the side front, this is what I'll be doing. Can you see? So this is me just taking out my dart. You see? So my dart is gone. So now I'll follow this part here, the cutting from here. Okay. So now you can see that we have our front piece. You see? So this is the essence, so that by the time we join it, can you see that by the time we join, can you see that here we're already having, if not for that extension, we will not, it will be short. So can you see? So by the time we're done, we can just retrace our armhole. So now this is what our lapel looks like. Like I said, that this is the breaking point for our lapel. Can you see? So this curved shape, so it's not as curvy as I want it to be, so I can just curve it in more, just so that it gives me that nice curve like I want. So here is my curved shape. So now what I'll be doing is this. I'm going to place this on my lining. I'll be cutting lining for this two side fronts, but for the center front I won't be cutting lining. I'll be using the same Ankara fabric, because remember it's going to be folded like this, so you don't want lining to show outside your dress. So it is the Ankara I'll be cutting. So if you want to use another color, for instance, you want to use another color, that fabric is what you're going to be placing here, but certainly not lining. It's not lining that you want to show outside your dress. So for the back too, I'm going to cut my lining for the two sides of the back, but for this I've already said that is my Ankara I'll be cutting. So for the collar, I'll be cutting 4 pieces, and that will also be the Ankara fabric. I'll be cutting 4 pieces. I'll add 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. So I'll cut it and show us what we have. Now we're done with the cutting part. In my next video, I'm going to be showing us how to stitch our pieces together to achieve this lovely double-breasted dress. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please like this video, share with your friends, also subscribe to my channel, and do not forget to put on your notification bell so that you get notified once I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.